To move the amendment by the Coalition, Councillor Perry.
Thank you very much, Lord Provost. In over 20 years as a councillor, I don't think I've ever been involved in a debate that's so closely interwoven with the debate in the Scottish Parliament. In fact, as you've mentioned today, they're actually debating, and it would have been useful to, to have known the outcome of that. Although obviously there's various information streaming through Facebook and Twitter. Unfortunately, it's going to not last for another 2 hours, so I don't think we should suggest that we're going to hold up for another 2 hours just to see what they're going to finally agree. What we're debating is a situation where the Scottish Parliament has passed a motion banning P1 testing, but has been ignored by the Scottish Government. I have spoken to a number of SNP colleagues, and I still don't understand how we've managed to create a system where the will of the majority is ignored by the government of the day. If in this council the coalition lost a vote, I think we would all agree the administration would be obliged to deliver what was agreed by this council. And for me, the Scottish Parliament, should be the sovereign body, and their wishes should not be ignored. I think there's two substantive issues in this debate we need to address. One is the principle of testing at an early age. The second is a principle at testing. Second is about the statutory nature of testing. I don't think anyone in this chamber is arguing about the need for assessment. We all agree it is necessary in order to assess progress, but this needs to be done in a non-intrusive manner that supports learning and teaching. I believe this is best done through assessment and not through testing. However, just as big an issue for me is the statutory nature of this testing. Previously, councils had developed their own assessments which mirrored local conditions and preferences. The Scottish Government's attempt to impose national standards testing is not something I think is sensible. Not only does it remove local control and accountability, it also stifles local initiative and innovation. I personally think it would have been far better to have allowed the local collaboratives to coordinate a regional approach in partnership with local councils. I believe not only would that continue to promote local variations and innovation, but would also provide the data that the Scottish Government is seeking. Having studied all the motions, I don't think they are not a substantial distance apart. We're all asking officials to report back on the status of the motion that was passed in the Parliament to ban testing before we take a final decision. We also have asked that the officials report back on assessments that are carried out in P1 at present, because if you're going to stop P1 testing, it would be useful to know what needs to be replaced by if it needs to be replaced by some other assessment. No group in this chamber is calling for an immediate ban on testing. We're all calling for a report from officials in order to establish the status of the parliamentary motion. When it reports back, that's when we will decide the fate of P1 testing at Edinburgh, if we can. Can I also assume that all the groups have talked to officials and they have confirmed that the directive carrying out testing has not been rescinded? And to ask them to stop testing now would put them in the firing line, and no group in any of the motion is advocating we put officials in that position, or we should ever put them in that position. In conclusion, let me make it absolutely clear, if the officials find a way to implement the Scottish Parliament motion, we will be supporting the P1 ban. However, I personally support the ban, not because it is not the will of the Scottish majority, the will of the majority in Parliament, or my party voted for it in Parliament, because I believe it's the right thing to do and it's wrong to test in P1. Lord Provost, I move the coalition motion.